Representative Edelson. And I'll move House File 1056 to be referred to Committee on Taxes. Representative Edelson. Want to explain your bill? Is there an amendment to it?
There is an amendment, Mr. Chair.
I will move the author's amendment. You want to explain what that does? And it looks like it's a real big and lot of words to it. Not really. It's a very short, it looks like a technical amendment.
It's really funny, Mr. Chair. I grabbed the wrong amendment from up there. But what the amendment essentially does is it's making it so that if there's not an NDA, that it would also, that we would not be able to, it would be more all-encompassing. And I can explain it in the larger scale of the bill.
Can I move the A2 amendment to put the bill in the way the author chooses? All those in favor of the A2 amendment, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion prevails. Representative Edelson, explain your bill.
Mr. Chair and members, House File 1056 would prohibit sexual harassment settlements to be paid as severance when a nondisclosure agreement is included. And in the instance when severance continues to be paid for these settlements, it provides language in subdivision 2 that the sexual harassment and abuse claims should not be taxed by the Minnesota Department of Revenue. The key differences in this legislation is how it impacts employees and who are the victims of sexual harassment and how the status quo can benefit companies. It's important to think about this in two different paths. In both instances, sexual harassment has been established. With severance, when a settlement is paid out as severance, the victim is subject to paying state taxes on a sum as it looks like wages. The victim experiences further victimization financially because the amount is dramatically reduced based on their tax rate. And it allows the company to deduct attorney's fees. With a settlement, the victim receives more of the award, which they should be entitled to because Minnesota does not pay tax on settlements. In both scenarios, the trauma and the harassment is exactly the same. In both scenarios, the benefit exists of resolving the harassment claim outside of the courtroom. However, it is the tale of two stories with unequal outcomes. What we are talking about is a loophole in the law that benefits companies at the cost of victims of sexual harassment. It takes an attorney 1 minute to change the wording from settlement to severance. This then can further traumatize the victim financially while benefiting the company. We should not, as a state, accept this. NDAs can conceal bullying, toxic harassment in a workplace. Companies, for good reason, are facing scrutiny over NDA cover-up practices. These NDAs do buy silence. By making this change before you today, we can help create a safer workplace that ensures companies are having robust discussions to prevent harassment and abuse in a workplace. And with that, Mr. Chair, I'm happy to go to my testifiers.
And I've got two testifiers on here. There may be more, but first on my list is Julie Reiser. Welcome to the committee.
Thank you.
Please state your name for the record and proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the committee, and Representative Edelson. My name is Julie Risser. In 2014, I signed a non-disclosure agreement with my previous employer for sexual harassment. Back then, I didn't know NDAs really aren't regulated. I didn't have time to investigate. This was before sexual harassment cases made headlines. I didn't know then, but what I had experienced was the norm. I went through common stages of on-the-job harassment. I ignored my harasser, hoping it would stop. I told my harasser to knock it off. The employee handbook messaged zero tolerance for sexual harassment and that victims must report. I reported in annual reports year after year. Nothing happened. I went to HR. The rep refused to document my experience. Later, I learned from a state of Minnesota unemployment expert that I should not go to HR. I shouldn't have done that. HR is there to protect the employer. Zero tolerance means HR denies sexual harassment exists. My contract was not renewed. It's common for people who report to lose their jobs, while those who harass remain employed, get promoted, and gain power over even more people. And that is what happened in my case. I felt and I was isolated. My husband and I needed my job to support our family, our daughters, I hired an attorney. I didn't want anybody to go through what I had. I thought this would make a difference. We reached an agreement. The term in it was settlement, not severance. There was nothing about income taxes. When payment came, I was stunned. It was a sliver of the validation I had agreed to. Even the state of Minnesota got a cut. My unemployment benefits stopped. I couldn't access them until the total of my settlement had been prorated out. I couldn't use settlement funds to retrain. My expertise was narrow. I would have had to move out of state for a job that matched my skills, and that was not an option. My parents and many extended family members are here. My employer benefited. Wages are deductible. Avoiding settlement payment keeps insurance rates down, and paying settlement as severance enables employers to conceal harassment. It means they don't have to reveal risk to insurers. No need to acknowledge the victims. It re-victimizes and shores up systemic gender inequities. I vividly remember seeing the cut Minnesota got from my sexual harassment settlement and also wondering, gosh, I wonder if I'm going to be bumped up to a higher tax bracket. House File 1056 will stop others from having this experience. It will also make it easier for people to retrain and get back in the workforce. There is a labor shortage. I would think there would be a lot of people who would be interested in seeing this pass. Thank you for your consideration. Minnesota can and must do better by victims of sexual harassment.
Thank you, Ms. Rizzer. The next person I have on my list is Artika Roller. And you can just pull another chair down there. And Representative Edelson, is this the last?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Thank you. Welcome to the committee. Please state your name for the record and proceed.
Thank you. My name is Artika Roller. I'm the Executive Director of the Minnesota Coalition Against Sexual Assault. We represent more than 66 domestic and sexual assault programs across the state of Minnesota, serving victims and survivors in all 87 Minnesota counties. Victims and survivors of workplace harassment and abuse experience significant trauma and many obstacles to healing, especially if you call their settlements severance. It continues the abuse that they have experienced. I wholeheartedly agree with Ms. Risser that allowing employees to make an abuse settlement payments as severance compounds the harm and allows employers to hide the record of wrongdoing. Severance pay indicates that an employee was simply let go or a reduction in force, whereas a settlement is a more accurate description. A victim and survivors receives less money if they're paid severance because it is subject to federal income taxes, and people who receive severance are also not allowed for unemployment benefits, which causes additional financial insecurity and harm to victims and survivors. Severance pay is also, again, state tax deductible, meaning that an employer can claim a sexual harassment settlement as a business expense on their taxes. Victims and survivors of workplace harassment or abuse faces loss, unexpected medical, mental health costs, and barriers to assessing unemployment benefits. Many victims and survivors lose their jobs or forced to quit because their safety and well-being are at risk. They may also miss out on career advancement opportunities, that is, and moving forward, losing future wages. Settlements can ease the burden of lost wages, help with medical expenses. A settlement also represents a person's best chance of getting some form of justice. We believe that everyone deserves to be treated with dignity and respect at work. Employers should not be able to hide sexual harassment and prevent their reputation to be damaged by claiming sexual harassment settlements as tax deductions or business expenses. Please vote today to support House File 1056 and the needs of victims and survivors by prohibiting payment of sexual harassment settlements as severance. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. Is there anybody else in the audience, before I go to questions, that wants to speak for or against this bill? I got to keep remembering to ask that. We didn't do that when we were in Zoom meetings. If not, questions on the bill? Representative Schultz.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and Representative Edelson. I'm beginning to understand the gravity of this bill and appreciate you bringing it forward and to kind of gain a little bit of an understanding here. And I realize, one, the impacts here to employers and obviously the employees. Would we be creating a new, so it's not wages, it's not severance pay, you're creating a new standard for what that payment would be, or how would that be classified?
Representative Edelson.
Mr. Chair, Representative Schultz, no, we wouldn't be. It's simply saying that in the instance where the company and the person that is the victim in the situation, if they agree or if it is agreed upon that there has been sexual harassment, that they would be paid out for a settlement. There is already a pathway for this. It's unfortunately used in situations just like the testifier had talked about, where they come to an agreement, and then when the agreement comes before them, a lot of the people in these situations, of all genders, by the way, are in a certain state of trauma when they're signing this, and then you think about it later as they receive their tax statement and they have to file their taxes. And so no, we're not. We're just saying that in the instance where this happens, you have to call it a settlement, which is what it is.
Representative Schultz.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and Representative Edelson. That does answer my question, and I appreciate it. And so this would, to gain clarity again, this simply says that there will be no income taxes towards that settlement.
Representative Edelson.
Mr. Chair, that is correct. Just like if there was any certain settlements within state statutes, definitely make that clear. And last year, Representative McDonald was on the committee, and it was bipartisan. I think it's something that happens within all of our districts. I think the questions you're asking are really good, though, and I value them.
Representative Schultz.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And Representative Edelson, what is the committee path for this bill, as you understand it?
Representative Edelson.
Mr. Chair, Representative Schultz, from here it should go to taxes, and I imagine from there it would be laid over.
Representative Edelson.
Oh, actually, no.
Representative Edelson.
Mr. Chair, Representative Schultz, I correct that. I think it would have to go to Judiciary as well, and then probably go back either to be laid over in taxes or Judiciary. Maybe one of the staff know, kind of that maybe the CA, Mr. Reese.
Looking at the staff, and we'll find that out. But from here, it's going to taxes. And you're probably right, it would have to go to Judiciary, and we'll see what happens from there. So, Representative Schultz, any further questions? Any other questions of members? If not, Representative Edelson, if you... We're having discussion of Representative Edelson that if it has to go to Judiciary and it's going to go to taxes to be laid over, that it probably should go to Judiciary first.
Mr. Chair, actually, as I'm thinking about this, Mr. Schultz, thank you for asking this question, because you're actually helping me. You're helping me so I don't have to go to several different committees. Actually, Mr. Chair, if we could amend the motion to have it go to Judiciary and then to taxes, I would be grateful.
Just wait a second. Here, go.
Thanks, Mr. Chair. Our nonpartisan staff is going to check with the nonpartisan staff board to do Judiciary Committee and can give us a more clear answer, because my reading of the bill, I'm not seeing it, but certainly the language that sends a bill to Judiciary Civil Law Committee is a complicated one, and so it's hard enough.
So, Ms. James, what did you find out?
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members. Yes, so just to confirm, this bill doesn't have a fiscal cost, so Judiciary and Civil Law would be appropriate, or wherever the chairs want it to be heard.
And I'm assuming that they did taxes because it's going to deal with the Internal Revenue Code. So I'll amend my motion that House File 1056, as amended, be referred to the Judiciary Committee, Judiciary Finance Committee. Members, all in favor of that motion, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? The motion prevails. The bill's on its way.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Mr. Chair, members.
Thank you.
And thank you for your testimony.